On this video, I want to talk about the 3 foods that can seriously prevent cognitive decline. So there are 3 brain foods. So I really want to look at this through the lens of those of you that want to prevent dementia or Alzheimer's, or even my menopausal women who are really struggling with memory and focus. And how do you add these foods in, and why do they work so well? So here we go. Let's dive in. First one, I start with the best news, which is dark chocolate. So if you've been following me for a while, I feel like I'm the PR spokesperson for dark chocolate. Not only does dark chocolate have so much magnesium, which is amazing for making progesterone, but dark chocolate also can help with the executive functioning centers of the brain. So I want to read you an interesting study, and then we'll talk about like what type of dark chocolate. But I found a 2022 study that put middle-aged adults on a diet that included dark chocolate for 4 weeks. So they had 2 groups. They had a placebo group and they had a dark chocolate group. And so they put they increased dark chocolate in obviously the dark chocolate group, and in the placebo group they didn't. I mean, they ate other things too, but they really looked at upping the dark chocolate. And this is what they found when they added dark chocolate in, is that group had reduced fatigue, it had enhanced memory and executive functioning. But what was fascinating, menopausal women out there, is that they saw an increase in the gray matter volume of the brain. Now, this is really interesting because those of you who follow my Resetter podcast, you saw hopefully that interview with Lisa Mosconi, who is one of the world's top female brain researchers. And she talked a lot in that episode, and in her book, The Menopause Brain, she actually talked a lot about how the process of menopause, what happens is that you lose a lot of your gray matter, a significant amount. And part of it is there's a reason for that. There's a pruning away, and then you start to grow new parts of your brain. But when we can add in chocolate through that menopausal experience, it helps with the new growth, because really what the brain's doing in menopause, it has this remodel process that's going on, and the neurons that you no longer need slough off and new neurons form and new parts of your brain get stimulated, and chocolate can be really impactful in the growth of those new neurons. So that's dark chocolate. Now you're probably like, well, okay, does that mean I just go to my local convenience store and buy whatever chocolate? No, we're talking like high chocolate, at least 70% chocolate. So you want it dark. You don't want it milky. You want it dark. You have to have 70% of the chocolate be chocolate, not be fillers and sugars and things like that. So make sure, this is my personal favorite. I have no attachment to this company. It's just literally just telling you my personal favorite is Hugh's Salty Dark Chocolate. But when I go and I look at this, I see organic, I like that, and I see 70% cacao. So I'm in the ballpark. Sometimes I actually will do 80 or 90% and make it really, really bitter. But definitely high-end chocolate is key. There was another study on chocolate, since it's so good. There was a 2023 study that showed that it has such a high polyphenol count. So remember, polyphenols help with the microbiome, and your microbes actually communicate with your brain via the vagus nerve. So what they found is that not only was chocolate helping with your brain function, this one study specifically enhancing your executive function, but it's supporting a healthy microbiome, which is then creating different changes, neurochemical changes in your brain by via the vagus nerve. So it's chocolate. How freaking cool is that? It's chocolate. So let's eat more of it. Okay, number 2, chia seeds. So chia seeds are really interesting, and in Eat Like a Girl, we have some fun recipes with chia seeds in them because they're great detoxifiers. Like, they bind to toxins in your body. I love it for that. But they also are high in phytosterols. So I want to break this down for you. Cholesterol is a sterol, right? So phytosterols have this really unique capability of crossing our blood-brain barrier and being able to help nourish the brain. And just like I've taught you all, I've talked a lot about phytoestrogens and how soy is a phytoestrogen and it can help with estrogen production. One of the things that we see as we age is that the cholesterol production in the brain diminishes. And this starts to affect things like memory. But with chia seeds, what we can do is we can add back in, just like phytoestrogens add back in estrogen, with chia seeds we can add in these phytosterols. And we can help with the overall cholesterol production of the brain that is so necessary to insulate brain pathways. So, and if you've been on a statin a long time, it's like, yeah, let's get some chia seeds going so we can really make sure that we're making the good cholesterol in your brain, because one of the challenges with statins is that it kills all cholesterol production. And it's part of that Alzheimer's piece, because what we've done is we've brought down cholesterol thinking that all cholesterol is bad, but all cholesterol isn't bad. Some cholesterol is needed, and it's needed for brain function. So let's bring in some of these positive plants that can help us with the natural production of things like cholesterol. Now, I also went on to look at some other science just around protecting your brain as far as chia seeds go. And one of the things is that it also increases the myelination of the neurons in your brain. Now, this is important because the neurons are what's carrying information. And the myelin sheath is on the outside. It's like the highway that can carry information. So if that myelination starts to break down, then information doesn't get carried as smooth. It's a little bit like driving on a road with a bunch of potholes in it. So now the ride is a lot bumpier and the thoughts become a little bit bumpier. But when we bring chia seeds in, what this study was showing is that it increases the myelination, so it smooths that road out. So it'd be like taking a neuron that's carrying information to other neurons, and you're like repaving the road by improving myelination. And the study even went on to talk about the fact that it can protect you from the amyloid plaquing. So that so many people are trying to prevent Alzheimer's right now. And when we are doing a dose of chia seeds, we start to see that not only are we getting the cholesterol, not only are we improving the myelination so the roads are smoother, but we're preventing any further decay. So you can put it in smoothies. Again, we have recipes in Eat Like a Girl. I put them in salads. Sometimes I just get chia seeds and put them in salads. There's chia seed pudding. So just start to look at that differently, because it really is a brain protector from many different angles. Okay, then the last one is absolute favorite of mine, and number 3 is whole eggs. And here's what's really cool about whole eggs is that they're packed with choline. And choline is a precursor to acetylcholine. Acetylcholine is a neurotransmitter that helps with memory. And acetylcholine is one of those neurotransmitters that is at risk during menopause. So if we start to look at the menopausal journey, we see that estrogen goes down. And I've shared this with you all, where estrogen has a girl gang, where she was bringing with her dopamine and serotonin and acetylcholine and all these yummy neurotransmitters. So as you naturally lose estrogen, you risk the potential of losing these acetylcholine. But if you bring eggs back into your diet through the perimenopausal years and the postmenopausal years, you're now adding choline in, helping your body make acetylcholine, improving memory. So a couple studies I found on this is that they actually find that choline increases neuroplasticity. Now, this is important because as your brain is changing through the menopausal experience, you are getting old neurons sloughing off, new neurons that are coming in. I call it the brain remodel project. It's like perimenopause is just a journey of remodeling your brain into a better brain. And believe me, we're going to be talking about the postmenopausal brain and how amazing it is. But in that shift, as those old neurons are coming down and new ones are forming, we lose some of that neuroplasticity. And neuroplasticity creates flexibility in the neurons. So like for my Reset Academy, I'm always recommending that people do new activities, that people hang out with new people, that I've said it here before, like you eat new foods. When we go into newness, we start to increase this neuroplasticity that helps us create new neuronal pathways in our brain. If we hang out with the same people all the time, reading the same things, reading the same news stations, doing the same, driving the same way to the grocery store, you create neurodegeneration. So the name of the aging game is variation. And when we look, and you do that to increase neuroplasticity, but whole eggs do the same thing. It's massively important for improving more highways in the brain so you can keep learning, you can keep being happy, and you don't fall into this cognitive decline. Okay, you know how when you're trying to get in and out of fat burner, sugar burner, and sometimes you struggle? It might be that you have a metabolic blocker that's at play here. Want to know what those blockers are? Click on the link above and I'll take you straight to a giveaway and you can have my list of metabolic blockers. Make sense? So there was also I want to point out, because a lot of you I know are in your 50s and 60s, and I'm going to leave a link for this, but there's a 2021 study out of Behavioral Neurology, which is a great publication, that showed choline intake was associated with better cognition over the age of 60. So if you're struggling with cognition, and to me cognition is your ability to hold on to new information, I really hope you're understanding that what I'm trying to do is show you the food path, not the supplement path. Now, supplements are great if you want to pulse them in, but let's build a fasting lifestyle where you're varying your fasting window and then you're bringing in all these different foods so that you can start to look at how to build yourself a healthy brain as you age. And one of those pieces, hopefully you understand now, is whole eggs. So there you go. I mean, that's not bad. Chocolate, chia seeds, and whole eggs. I don't think there's anything in there that's egregiously horrible as far as taste goes. But I really want us to start to look at food as medicine and really see how powerful the different components of food can be. So as always, I hope that helps. And if you've had some great results with any of these foods, or you have a cool recipe, put it in the notes. You know what else I'd love to know, because I have so many dedicated followers and I really appreciate you all. Did you order Eat Like a Girl? I literally tried to pour everything I knew about food for women into this book, along with 100 really amazing recipes that have the ingredients like what I just talked about. So let me know if you pre-ordered it, put it in the comments. And as always, don't give up on yourself, and I hope that helps. Guess what? In my next video, I'm going to show you the amazing benefits of honey. So make sure you stick through and watch that video. What is interesting is honey, even though it's a sweetener, there's some really cool qualities to it that you want to know about and make you change your mind if you've kept it out of your diet.